Gentlemen, welcome to another exciting, innovating, and amazing Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, the one, the only Master Propaganda here of Psych Defender of the Fatherland, off here to a glorious 1v1. Oh, you guessed it. Amilly Fields, north of the F3rig, fighting for the Red Army, the Soviet Union, Comrade Stalin. Rolling out here with the 12th Guards Tank Corps here with airborne troops, Guard Motor, and Soviet Combined Arms Army. In the south, it is Learn to Play, fighting for the Oberkommando West Germany, Deutschland. Here, holding the line here with the 3rd Panzer IV, featuring Special Operations, Luftwaffe Ground Forces, and Overwatch. A full Skirmishes Kuhwagen start versus a double engineer country start here for F3rig. And as always, a big hearty thanks to my supporters, my Patreon people. Without them and their heroic support, the Propagandacaster would not be possible. So as always, a big thanks to those. Other people can join ranks by Patreon. They can donate by PayPal. Links in the description. And finally, commenting, liking, sharing, subscribe is another way to show the support for the Propagandacast and help the YouTube algorithms show the video to as many people as possible. So, off the races, here's Learn to Play. Heads east for the Kuhwagen, the Sturmpioniere, a lone Volker squad heading west for the German army. Up north here we got the country news out there for F3rig. Bit about why, and again we've seen that, bit about why he laying down or placement. See some players go for the basic doing it in a way to make it difficult for the opponent to lay down sandbags along the other axes there. So pretty sneaky there by F3rig. Engagement there. First shot fired here. Kuhwagen was in gears. The Kuhwagen just drops up and wrecks the battle. While you just hear the gears going like, "Look out! Stupid fascists! We just put all that bat wire down and you run over it." Wait, why doesn't he get tangled into its wire? The wheels? I don't know. Morphos there for Learn to Play. Sturmpionier charging in there. Conscript falling back. His opposite versus the Sturmpionier squad and the Kuhwagen. The Conscripts are just not able to match the firepower against such a superior Teutonic early game assault formation. In the south here, Volkswagen engineers here fighting the field of dead cows. Engineers at least have a stone trough to fight behind, whereas the Volkswagen well, got dead cows. Surprisingly enough, he tries to grab the point rather than moving there, but there you go, got ultra round prong big back here. I think is the wisest move in the east here. We got the Sturmpionier picks up the Kuhwagen as F3rig here. I think he's trying to mess with it. Second Volkswagen moving to assist in the east. There we go, Sturmpionier falling a bit back off here on the west side here. The German Soviet infantry pushing through across the field of dead cows. Straight out the Germans here, not even trying to use the dead cows for advancing cover. Then the east side here, conscripts there falling back. More troops arriving here for F3rig as Learn to Play reinforces the eastern field, which, as you might notice, is completely free of dead cows. On the west side here, the field of dead cows has been claimed here by F3rig and the Red Army. Today, comrades, marks the day of a great victory on the tactical level. Oh, the cows? No, the terrain, the terrain. Forget about the cows. Comes as the Kuhwagen. Needs to being healed up for F3rig. Flame personally as well then. Excellent upgrade here. Fresh push then into the field of dead cows here by Learn to Play. Comes there caught on the wrong side of the cover briefly, but there you go. Managed to get into cover there. Note they also wide off the tractor. I imagine we're looking at a truck next. They could also go for another full Grenadier squad, obviously. But hard to say what Learn to Play is planning here versus F3rig. On the west side here, the conscripts are forced back here. Forced to vacate the field of dead cows. Grab these munitions point there. Up north here, support company up there for F3rig. Very good. There we go. Truck for Learn to Play. And we do get Overwatch, so Jaegers here. Overwatch by far being the most popular, so commander. Part, of course, the Jaegers. And the other part is straight up sector assault, which is just an amazing call-in ability. Unless your opponent has anti-aircraft support, in which case it's amazing target practice for the anti-aircraft gunners. There you go, track out here for Learn to Play and the German army. Sees on the western point here with the Volksgrenadier marching right past all the dead cows.
Ready for order. Ready.
Going past that, moving towards the western field point. No further tech yet for F3rig, and crucially, no commander chosen either. Sandbags up here at the western field point. Volkswagen's moving to assist. Soviet infantry on the move there. More securing in the east here. But there you go, fight for the field point. They quickly falling a bit back here. Soviet infantry pushing forward. See, engineers cause a real problem here for Learn to Play's infantry. They won't be able to use heavy cover without risking just getting burned to a crisp. There's flamethrowers get a bonus in terms of damage versus units in heavy cover. Plus, they're AoE weapons, so they're less effective by accuracy anyway. So they'll find that. Plus, of course, with the Soviets, they can just merge conscripts with engineers, and focusing them down doesn't work out particularly well there. Which is why, you know, Soviet flamethrowers are typically quite popular in the hands of good play. They can become extra powerful because, again, they'll just keep merging conscripts with the flamethrower teams. Merge is a really powerful ability there. But one that tends to get overlooked a lot of the time. We'll have to see if that sticks true, though, once the Germans get it in Companies 3. Or if somehow there'll be players starting to complain about it. But that's another discussion to have. Anyways, Jaeger's out here for Learn to Play, adding the G33 sniper rifle and marksman rifle specifically. Cool one thing fixed up. Generally, the Germans were not keen on using it as a sniper rifle. It's more meant like, you know, as a designated marksman weapon. Generally, they preferred it Carnot TKs or captured mercenary guns for sniper rifles. Fun fact: tank change up there for F3rig. Westerns having grabbed at the conscripts. Once more, the field of dead cows is claimed by the Red Army. East of the cool button as the conscript Sturmpion being forwards here for Learn to Play. Senders just being up the Jaegers now. Comes then heavy cover, Fultz charging in. Of course, he can pop an Nintendo grenade out here, Brandhand Grenade, except, yep, there we go. Quick retreat here. Obviously, could try and stick around, but that'd just be a waste of manpower and time here for F3rig. Just retreating here is ultimately the wisest decision. Plus, he's laid down mines here, in fact, a lot of mines, so an immediate breakthrough here will be a bit impossible to achieve, I think, to Learn to Play without suffering significant manpower losses. And the Sturmpioneers might notice on the other end of the map, and they also don't have minesweepers, so not the way I got the film. Got Concentrated 48, worth noting. No grenade upgrade yet here for F3rig and the Red Army, and still no Commandant, though. Got Motor, obviously seems the most likely, and there we go. Again, no surprise. Got Motor is by far just the best third command. He's like de facto the best one, period. So while I know some people are tired of it, the problem is just like, you know, 90% of like third players will go for it because it's really, really good. Like, if you're going to take it up with someone, take it up with the Relic Balance Department. Guardsmen out there though for F3rig. Bit short mixes with the DP light machine guns. There you go, more mines. That's 4 Fultz Grenadiers dead. Reinforcing here, healing up for F3rig. Like, going to go for T-70 soon. Raketenwerfer almost done here for Learn to Play in the German army. Cool by noticing repairs. We don't have any mines done here from Learn to Play in the Germans. Western field being seized here. Sturmpini was the guardsman. I imagine we're also seeing a heavy mortar here from F3rig eventually, because again the heavy mortar is also just really good. Just like the guardsman now. Using forward here for F3rig. I mean, he could also just skip the T-70 in the anti-aircraft traffic, but there we go. We do get the T-70 for F3rig. Just a brief possibility, might just want to go for the mechanized armor company, but considering the sheer amount of pressure is under from here from Learn to Play, trying to hold up for T-34 would, I think, constitute a bit too ambitious move here by the Red Army, and could like just hand the fight to the Germans. So obviously, here going for the T-70 is the correct choice. You can also soon go for the DP light machines, guardsmen, adding some firepower. Then again, you can see there, merchant conscripts with engineers. Seen some center. Then the subject conscript up the fuel point there. Steady advances here from F3rig. Learn to Play their bit scattered, and so can't form up like an effective line of defense here to really absorb F3rig's attacks here. And the addition of the T-70 is going to make this much tougher, because while the Raketenwerfer obviously is an anti-tank gun that can help deal with it, the map is in such a way you can't just like stop the T-70 entirely. So even like, you know, he runs into the Raketenwerfer from the west, he can just swing the T-70 more towards the east and attack from another angle, for example. So it can be a bit of a challenge for the Overwatch player to tie down in this map there, and we'll need Panzer IV or additional Raketenwerfers, which will slow down his tech a bit further as well here versus F3rig. Okay, lands good in the T-70, of course, punches through with its 88mm rocket, doing significant harm there to the T-70 light tank. Fultz is routed, Jaegers also have to retreat here. Country light tank retreating, and on the east side here, fighting for the fuel point there is underway here as Learn to Play moves forward. We've got a field in there for F3rig. T-70 need repairs. Fun fact about the T-70, it was sort of an expedient, shall I say, emergency measure that basically combined elements of the T-60 and the T-50 light tanks to create the T-70. It was basically there to simplify production lines while they were moving T-34 factories away from German reach and towards the Ural Mountains. And so they had to produce something, and the T-70 was basically that product, mixing in the T-60 thing whole with the T-50's turret to sort of create a sort of not particularly efficient light tank, but something that would hold the line, you know, until they get more T-34s going there. So, little fun fact there about the T-70. Little fun fact there. It wasn't even particularly cheap. It might actually cost more to make than the T-34-76, but again, they had to make it, or, you know, they had nothing to make it all.
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
Using westwards there. Guardsmen to the Kedden effort, TC falling back there for F3rig. No heavy mortar yet, which is definitely a good piece of fortune there for Learn to Play, who is taking up there. He could, of course, gone for a flak half track himself, just maybe like further cemented control in the early game, but obviously pushing for a fast, schwer-panted quarters, maybe some aggressive overstarting pushes here, could do a lot of work here for Learn to Play, and of course, just a faster Panzer IV there is also pretty solid, so hardly like a fault for that. Flare mine goes off here, killing one of Learn to Play's infantry, very good. Almost getting wiped on the Volkskunde squad and fat with the T-70 45mm gun. East side here we got the Sturmpionier engineers. Coming up there, good shot on the T-70. Maximum machine effect, help further control the field here against the Germans. Thumbs up to that. It's worth noting that Learn to Play does not possess a machine gun at all. Typically, the Oberkorps player, if they don't go for the flak half track, will at least get a machine gun. But it's not uncommon for them to go for the flak half track and the machine gun. So it is a bit of a noteworthy element here currently in Learn to Play's build that we are not seeing a machine gun at all. And that, I think, if he's not going for that, he really needs to like push, I think, for an overstarting squad here. Instead, he authorizes first, which I suppose is fine, but I do think he really wants some Overstar now to put more pressure on F3rig's infantry. Also very good as the support weapons. But again, so far, no particular desire towards... Oh, there we go. Overstar there for Learn to Play. Die mächtige Obersoldaten. Digging them around the center. Reinforcing healing here for Learn to Play. Kuban needed some light repairs. Fuel puts on following the control of the Red Army. Very good. Still can't take them out of their straight. A Learn to Play will obviously be hitting it. F3rig here with a fairly well-paced Panzer IV model. Yay. Kept moving forwards here. Fulton's lining up as well there for the next wave of attacks here. Got a small strong point in the center, but he's making the big move in the west here. Mars being laid down instead of the troops moving forwards. Also catching the field gun here, pushing that back. But Kevin supporting his role here. Obersoldaten now needs, of course, at the LMG 34 there. Kevin up the conscripts behind heavy cover. Volkskunde is here as the constant heavy cover. Might will get the Jaegers in there. Honestly, we could actually just flank around here and get behind them. Tiesler's moving up here. Could do with that little flank attempt. He's just moving straight ahead here. In terms of tactical approach, I'd definitely not rate that as being particularly sound there by Learn to Play. Getting perhaps a tad impatient here. Exposing him into a lot of fire, I think, needlessly here versus F3rig. Like, he lost a lot of men there without really getting a lot of damage in return. He does finally overcome it, but still, like, he took a lot of damage, has less force to deal with it. Now F3rig flanks in from the center here, catching Learn to Play's force in the center in a really bad position. We got the Upside by the eastern point here, about to get grenaded. Taking a nasty loss, in fact, about to lose the Upside squad if he's not careful. So yeah, F3rig, or Learn to Play, definitely overextending his attention too much, but also, I think, committing to some less than efficient attacks here. He can go for the Panzer IV very soon, but even then, this was a pretty good engagement for F3rig. I mean, and the overall botched attack by Learn to Play that really cost him more than he absolutely gained. In fact, he lost ground from this too, because he wasn't even, like, you know, able to hold what he then had already. So definitely not good there. Again, he shouldn't attack like into a position with like heavy cover like that. Still not once the Soviet infantry appeared. In fact, he'd been better off like just going about here and getting behind. That way, you know, catching them off guard here. But there you go. We do get the Panzer IV here. There's also the other argument. Just focus more on the east to defend the fuel pond there at least. And, you know, maybe push up to the east there instead. You could also like go through here and like attack from another angle. Whatever the case, I don't think you should attack from there. Again, that was just an inefficient attack angle that made it much easier for F3rig to defend against Learn to Play's assault. Panzer IV though is halfway done here for Learn to Play and the German army. Sees an eastern point with the Volkskunde. Sandbags down. Flare mine goes off, killing Fritz. Fielded dead cows once more or less fully under control of the Red Army. Panzer IV's almost on the Learn to Play. Making our stomach company up for F3rig. Quick hand grenade in there. Pushing out into the open, into the line of fire. The Volkskunde, the Jaegers can't hit them due to the massive wooden fence that was completely blocks the line of fire. So in this regard, F3rig, I think, read the decision quite correctly, just pushed ahead there. West side here, Victor point being seized. The Ken coming up here to assist. Again, his eastern forces, at least for the time, being exposed to the T7. Of course, the Panzer IV should be able to rectify. There we go. Panzer IV Model J should, of course, add the pin-mounted MG42. Shoots, misses the guardsman. Covering up the T70. Good shot there with its 88mm rocket. Pin-mounted MG42 being added to the Panzer IV as well. Thumbs up. Sturmpioneer going for the conscripts. Charging right ahead. Flare mine retreats. Panzer IV towards the centre and moving westwards here. The Panzer IV Model J was the last model of Panzer IV before the end of the war. Was a simplified model that was easy to produce, but did have some lackings compared to like other models, for example, where early models of the Panzer IV had generated for the engine for the turret. The Model J did not have to be hand cranked on a motor, and that definitely gave it some issues there. It technically also had a larger fuel tank, which gave it more range, but you know, they typically didn't have enough fuel to make use of it anyways. So, little fun side note there. But it was overall a much cheaper model of the Panzer IV to produce and easy to produce. That said, a lot of that kind of went out the window anyways, because the Führer hard limited how many Panzer IVs could be produced. In fact, he'd like, by the time of the Panzer IV Model J, like would at that point roughly twice try and cancel Panzer IV production entirely, and then end up like hard capping it. So, fun fact there. Panzer IV's the guard from the east here. Volksblue Jaegers moving in there. We got Malt's 7-man squads up there for F3rig's conscripts. He can also soon go for the T-35. In fact, he can't go for it now. Could see the guardsmen wiped here. They're pretty good here for learn to play. Getting rid of them would definitely remove the pressure point here from him. And there you go. Guard squad wiped. Excellent here for him. Learn to play definitely also a bit of a tighter spot. Though he is, of course, now going for the T-35, which will definitely be a challenge here for Learn to play's infantry. There you go. Guard a weapon return. I think anyone can fairly deduce that a full skirmishes squad isn't quite as painful to lose as a guard squad. Panzer rushing here, backing up Jaeger's field gun. Could be in a lot of trouble. Maxim also getting bypassed here, but he's opposite prioritizing here the field gun there. Jaegers need to get moving there. Looks like forgot about him. There we go. The field gun could be a lot of trouble. Always on this still suppressed, but the field gun there about to get wiped out. If you can clear it out and then destroy it, that's going to be a real problem here for F3rig. Almost, but fell a bit short. There you go. Conscripts, they're going to try and recruit here before he can destroy it. Jaegers need to get up support. We got the Kubak and the Fulton Ram. There you go. Good shot, but the conscripts will reinforce it. Had there been 7-man squad to ultimately re-merge with it, but that won't happen. There we go. Field gun cleared out again. T-35 has arrived and Learn to Play really has F3rig here with his back against the wall. There you go. Field gun destroyed, leaving him with only the T-35 really now to deal with the Panzer IV. That said, the T-35 is very much favoured in that engagement, despite technically costing less. We got Mark here to further convince Learn to Play to pull back his Panzer IV there. Kuban almost knocked out. Panzer IV getting flanked by the T-35. Do get a Panzer burst off it, but even this is a great engagement, I think, here for F3rig. The T-35 just has more health than the Panzer IV Model J. That's set. The T-35 misses a point blank range. The Panzer gets off another hit. The situation for F3rig is suddenly going sideways, but no, the infantry is forced to retreat here due to the presence of the T-70. Raketten for number 2 for Learn to Play. Has he lost the other one here? Oh dear. Oh dear. He actually stole the Raketten while they was going on the X-Men sneak up. They steal the Raketten and merge with it. That said, I do think I had to retreat due to the Schwerpanzer quarters, but that was pretty well done there by F3rig. Definitely turns the table and Learn to Play a bit there by stealing his Raketten effort. Thumbs up there to F3rig. That was a really nice heist. T-35 though still in a bit of a tight spot, and we're also getting another field with F3rig. So, what will Learn to Play do next? I'm guessing more Panzer IVs here. Would certainly be the nice in-between choice here. Field gun almost done. Troops heading out here, moving westwards of the Sturmpioneer. Obersalon holding up the centre here. 9 kills on that Panzer IV close veteran to 1. Panzer gets to on the conscripts. 7-man squad upgrade on the way there. Kuwagen got decent fuel point. Hits the shed. And another Obersalon squad here for Learn to Play, adding in some more elite infantry further pressure F3rig with. I think that's a good addition here. will definitely be tough there for Ferric to deal with. At least his infantry and support weapons will suffer from it. Of course, the tanks, not so much. There we go. More 7-man squads for Ferric. They could definitely do some more infantry, some guard squads of infantry addition. The Kedma is not at the T-70. And there you go. Ferric responds with a field gun bombardment on the Kedma for killing Fritz. And there you go. T-35, they're flanking in as well there, causing further discomfort and harm here to learn to play in the German army as he rolls ahead here with his mighty T-34-85. Panzer IV shoots, misses. T-35 found does not with its 80-pound gun. Panzer IV there narrowly missed by the T-35. Reminiscent points. Forcing healing here for learn to play. Can soon go for the Panther IV. Of course, he might be tempted to go for a Panther here versus the T-35. He might just be tempted. Fix up the T-70, close to the easel on that little terror tank. No additional infantry for Ferric so far versus learn to play. Who does have that second Orbital squad out. He definitely has a good chunk of infantry with a total of 6 squads. That will definitely particularly pose a problem for Ferric. As long as learn to play doesn't do anything too silly with his infantry. Got a Katyusha there for Ferric. Would have figured more armor at this point, honestly. But the Katyusha, of course, can be effective, though. As associates with Guard Motor, I typically say a lot of the time you're just better off going for like a bunch of heavy mortar than going for the Katyusha. Fleming goes off there. Dieter dead. Panther also heavily damaged. Kuhwagen heavily damaged. We got the T-7 there with 18 kills now. Jaegers creeping up in the centre. We got the Frickerin of the country covering that particular point. And the T-35 is being held back for repairs. Katyusha is halfway done. Learn to play can soon go for a Panther. He has the fuel. He just needs the manpower. Eastern Fuel consist here by Learn to play is a brave Obersoldaten. And there you go, the Panzerkampfwagen 5. Kruppstil und Pulse engines there on the way for Learn to play. And Deutschland. Jägers flanking against the Engineers. Virtually free. 28 kills. They've definitely had an impact here on Ferric over the match so far. And that proved to be a good investment here for Learn to play. Orbs on there be bombarded with Katyusha. There you go. Jürgen gets completely obliterated. Removed from the very face of this pixelated Earth. In the southeast, Panzer IV being fixed up on the west side here. 2 squads lining up here to make a move on the fuel pump. We can see there Ferric is ready to defend it with all of his socialist might. Panther there is 2/3 of the way done here for Learn to play in the German army. The Panzerkampfwagen 5. Panther IV to the T-70. Good shot there. Closing in to 2 there for some increased accuracy. There we go. Vector should gain T-70 somehow. Sebastian encountered 21 kills. An excellent investment there for Ferric. Typically, a lot of the time, if you know how to handle the T-70, will typically always be a good investment because it is a really good light tank in the game. And there you go, Panzerkampfwagen 5 out here for Learn to play in the German army. Continental towards the centre, backed up with a Maxim. Should add the pin-mounted MG42, but at this point is very, very, very likely setting up for a sector assault. If he can time the course correctly, it can be devastating here for Ferric. If he doesn't, it could end up being a massive waste of munitions. Troops are getting hammered. Panthers on the move. Panthers moving forward center, backed up by the Kedma also on the Jaegers. We see their Ferric's position center staff. It's looking a bit exposed here. That said, he's got the field covering the flank here. That's at the western flank. It's a bit more open. Panther was the T-35 looking forward. There we go. They get wiped here. He was trying to get off that Panther. Instead, he wasted an entire full screen squad there as Ferric's T-45 just chewed them apart there. Good lord, that guy seems like he's having a really rough time of dying, and ooh, he just bounced up. So they ended up not really doing a lot there for Learn to play. Just wasted manpower, to be honest there. Now going in the T-35 to grab the point by the looks of it here. Ferric is fearless, perhaps? Or not? No. Perhaps not as fearless as initially led to believe. Good use of marked vehicle here on the Panther. Engaging with a Kedma for there. Nasty hit there. Takes it down to almost half health. With marked vehicle, you basically get a fat damage bonus, meaning the Panther can basically go down a lot faster, which makes it a very good ability against stuff like Panthers. Good hit on the T-35 there. Panther Kuban had to be caught with the field of the Kedner for here. Needs to get that out of there before it gets destroyed. Still, Learn to Play at this point has almost practice sorted out against F3rig. He's not entirely sure how to deal here with F3rig, it seems like. Which is great for F3rig though. Definitely leaves Learn to Play their bit out to dry. He's sending in the infantry, but crucially with no real armor support team, meaning the infantry's going to be quite exposed. There you go, Katyusha fire there. Almost obliterates the entire Opposite squad there. T-35 going to go for the kill here. The Kedner moving in there. But it is kind of incorrect. There you go. Panther lands a good hit as well there. Folks are being hammered. Got the Kedner for there. Has forced retreat in the face of FRIG's stiff and fanatical socialist dedication here. Almost got the Kedner go destroyed, denying it to FRIG. Panther IV taking a hit from the field gun, pushes down to half. There's also half fate of Veteran 3. Panther though, and Panther IV need repairs. Honestly, at this point, Learn to Play may want to consider another Sturm Pioneer squad just to expedite repairs here for his armor, because the faster you can get these tanks back into action, the better for Learn to Play, and of course, the worse off for FRIG, who's close to another T-35, or he could be planning the H-5 tank destroyer. I mean, both, I would say, are fairly viable options here versus Learn to Play. But I think he needs to stop attacking around here, because at this point FRIG is very much anticipating most of the attacks that are happening around here. So if he were to say push up through here or go for a deep flank through here, I think he'd have much better chance of success here versus FRIG, in part because FRIG was just not expected. And that element of surprise they could give Learn to Play a bit more room to work with against FRIG. So that is something to consider there. You should find the 1/3 of the way down here for FRIG. Panther moving up should add the pin amount in MD42. Still hasn't done it again. He's very focused on sector assault at this point. Can't find the cover removed. Exposed to the Obersoldaten. Panther then bounces a shot here from the field gun. H-5 tank so it's almost done for FRIG and the Red Army. Panther moving forwards. Good shot on the T-7 there with its high velocity 700 gun there. Basically the major difference between the Panther and the Panther IV in terms the guns is the gun of the 700. The Panther 700 gun could achieve much higher velocity in its shells compared to the Panther IV, meaning it could achieve overall much higher accuracy, range and penetration compared to the Panther IV. On the other hand, they had less powerful high explosive shells because the higher velocities also create a much thicker shell and there's less room for high explosives inside of it. So, little fun fact there. Little fun fact. How's up here for Learn to Play? Going for some artillery zone to try and shatter FRIG's positions into submission and destruction. You should probably engaging the Panther, punches through the front line of the east. They're using its 85mm gun. Eastern fuel and cease with the conscripts. Howitzer is 2/3 of the way done here for Learn to Play. Panthers could do with some light repairs here. But yeah, it seems like Learn to Play is going to just attack straight up the same axis of attack that he's been doing this last many times. Again, meaning FRIG, as you might notice, is already prepared for this, punting most of his guns towards here because that is where he's expecting the main blow to land. That said, it does look like Learn to Play might be looking to actually surprise his opponent a bit here, though. I feel like he should be sending an infantry rather than tanks because he's kind of giving away unless it's meant to be a decoy attack to draw FRIG to defend around here and then push up here. But even then, it's he's kind of falling into the same patterns he has used to. There we go. Hard to find way around the center where we can see there FRIG has fairly well dug in here. Howitzer gets off some light damage here. Sandbags being dug in here. Second Howitzer shot goes off the mark in the west. Katyusha fires the Jaegers. 29 kills. Yuri explodes here. T-35 there taking a hit from the Kedner. Another shot there from the Howitzer, causing more damage amongst FRIG's forces. Closing in the T-70. And the Kubelwagen goes down. A tragic blow to German army morale there. Panther and Panther IV getting ready here. Jaegers up the center here. It's got plenty of munitions. Plenty of munitions. just not using it. It does look like here Learn to Play is finally going to commit to the attack, though it is looking a bit worrying. He was sending in his tanks without infantry support here. Quickly disengages, troops reinforcing healing. Sturm Pioneer moving in, Raketen for more here for Learn to Play. Still advancing the centre, Orbison currently some victory point here. We got 180 versus 260. Panzer IV moving forward again. Limited repairs, and there go. Good shot from the H85. Howitzer is going to take some time before he can fire again here on his opponent. Got the western point, could lay down booby traps. T-Significant coming out of front from the Lekena. They go T-35 there by the eventually 2 with 20 kills, flanking Lekena, forcing Learn to Play to pull it back. Orbison on the conscripts, Constantine immediately getting gunned down in the middle of the open. Orbison was the advancing conscript from the west here. Panther again does also look like he's going to fall into the same pattern of attack, which is attack through here. We got mines on here from F3rig. Thumbs up to that, obviously. Makes an armoured assault there much more risky if Learn to Play fails to provide mines for support here for the advancing tanks and infantry. Panther there moving ahead, they're quickly disengaging. Another marked vehicle here from F3rig. On Learn to Play's mighty Panzerkampfwagen 5. There you go, direct hits here from H85 and field gun. Push you down to almost half health already. Oh, Jaeger's in trouble with the constant, the T-35. Panther further disengaging. Up north, he all of a sudden rounded by the T-70 here. 24 kills, Ace level. There you go, the assault continues here. Heading Learn to Play's exposed centre. There's the armor's forces disengaged. We do get the Panzer IV now round to try and stabilise, but the situation for Learn to Play is potentially spiralling into a full rout here as F3rig is steadily ratcheting up the pressure here against him. We got the Howitzer firing here, but it's just hoping to get lucky there, and it's obviously not going to happen. T-5 versus the Panther, both are the miss. Bounce, there you go. Get some hits on the T-5, there you go. H-5 flanking the Panther IV. We also got the field gun here. Panther's down to a very low amount of health versus the Soviets. Panther IV there. Half health now, coming in there. Almost got the Panther IV there. H-5 almost got it. Field gun joining as well here. H-5 misses the Panther IV there. Really close call though. Might be able to finish off. He's moving forward with it. Just needs one shot here, and pop goes the weasel. Learn to Play's Panther IV is now nothing but a Panzer Not as the munitions burst into flames. They're cooking the crew alive like Bloodthirst. Brandhand gun on H5, then got the field Howitzer there, forcing H5 though back with the Raketen FC as Learn to Play launches a frenetic and frantic, desperate counterattack here. But he can't muster enough strength behind it to really go, I think, much further. We also got the Panther still need repairs. And F3rig is adding another T-35 because why not? 6 kills on the Howitzer, still taking some time before he can fire again. As he obviously just had that entire barrage do nothing there on the western fields.
Vehicles can be marked and targeted.
And of course, as one will secure the field of dead cows. German infantry launching a counterattack. We got Jaegers with 33 kills, halfway to the ace level. Frontovix routed in the face of Learn to Play's daunting and daring infantry assault there in the centre. So it's dug in, and there you go. Katyusha moving up to unleash another horrendous infantry rending. Katyusha rocket strike. There you go. The Kevin crew is being torn asunder in the open. In the west side, Panther moving up there, still damaged. T-35, H-5 from the block here. Could tear apart Learn to Play's Panther here with some disturbing ease if he's not careful. East side, there we got troops moving up. Good shot there from the Panther. T-35 almost done there. Got another marked vehicle here on the Panther. Finally got the sector assault, but the timing of it is like pretty weak, in part because like his opponent gets disengages, he doesn't have a lot of line on sight, so it just ends up being 275 munitions doing nothing. Obviously, it does push away his opponent, keep him from ending with armor, but the question is that really what he wants now? Does he stall out and buy time versus F3rig? Or does he want to, like, you know, actually destroy some of F3rig's armor? Because Learn to Play remains very much outgunned. I mean, he's just got a Panther now. He could try and stall for the King Tiger, but I think that involves too much risk right now versus F3rig. Could very much just concede the entire match here to F3rig going for that, and like any other armor, still also going to find himself struggling. Eastern fielding sees for the conscripts. Advancing up the centre there. With his near east level Jaegers and the Obserdarden. Panther being fixed up in the west. T-70 blocking the advance in the centre here. F3rig, I think, could stand to be a bit more aggressive versus Learn to Play, but he's clearly doing himself fairly well. There we go. Truck for Learn to Play. possibly indicating King Tiger Sword, which again I think is going to be highly ambitious under the current circumstances and incredibly risky. Definitely not what I would absolutely recommend under these current circumstances. Maximum up, he also could be in trouble there. He's farming forward because usually he's ready to fight again here versus Learn to Play in the German army. Bungering off that kills Sergei, but that's about it. Panther on the move here. Got the Israel and good shot there on the Panther and the ace level on that one. West side we got the T-3rd Father jump unit. Good explanation to fire, punching through the Panther side armor. Bombarding, he's finally hitting the Panther. Panther's ready too. It came up in the ace level here, of course, infect some issues with his armor, but that said, I think Learn to Play's Panther's going to go up in flames. He does have the mechanized rating going up. He's just not going to have any tanks to assist with now because the Panther is going to, I think, explode in a few moments here. So we've got the ace T-35 and the near ace issue-5 engaging it. So it's a matter of time before the Panther combusts, and there you go. Panther's knocked out, leaving Learn to Play with no armor. Barely an infantry, no anti-tank weapons. There you go. GG, more or less game over, I think. I think it's also abandoned the matches. We just need the game to react to this. But with this, I think it is safe to say Learn to Play has lost the match. F3rig has claimed glorious socialist victory. So there we go. GG, game over. Again, I feel like Learn to Play partly suffered from being, I think, too focused on attack through here, like he didn't most of the time attack through here. Could, I think, angle some more flanking attacks against F3rig. And I think that's like one of his major issues. There was also like a mines, and he just saved up so much munitions for Sector Assault, which just really didn't do anything for Armada. So it's just, I think, weak usage of the Commander. F3rig, I think, played well, solidly, of course, make good use of the Commander. And I think it was also much better, I think, handling the map compared to Learn to Play as the match went on. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. I learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it, tell a friend, tell a family. But don't tell enemies. This is Imperial Link. Cheers. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow again for another episode. Bye.